In every moment, your mind is placing attention on something. It may be the task in front of you, a memory from the past, a fear of the future, or even a meaningless distraction. But what many do not realize is that attention is not passive. Wherever it goes, it carries your energy with it, just like water. Water directed through a narrow pipe gains pressure and force. Your energy, when guided through focused attention, becomes powerful and effective. But like a leaking container, a distracted mind pours energy into places that do not serve you, and often you are left feeling drained without even knowing why. This is why some people work for hours and achieve little, while others, in a state of deep focus, accomplish much in a short time. It's not just about effort, it's about the quality of the attention behind the effort. Energy without focus is like sunlight scattered through the air, warm but not transformative. But when that same sunlight is focused through a magnifying glass, it becomes powerful enough to ignite. The mind works in the same way. When your mental energy is dispersed across worries, conversations, social media, and unfinished tasks, your internal flame cannot build enough heat to change your reality. A distracted mind is not only inefficient, it is vulnerable. Every distraction is an opening. Through it, doubt enters, confusion enters, outside influence enters. The more doors you leave open, the harder it becomes to remain clear and confident in your own direction. You may start something with passion, but without sustained attention, that fire cools and you are pulled into things that do not matter. Every time you shift focus unnecessarily, it takes time and energy to return. And the more often it happens, the more you lose momentum. It is like walking forward, then taking 5 steps sideways for every 2 steps ahead. Most people do not lose their strength all at once. They lose it slowly through divided attention, checking the phone every 5 minutes, thinking about 10 things while doing one, listening to speak rather than listening to hear. These small distractions may seem harmless, but over time, they weaken the muscles of the mind. Concentration is not just a state, it is a skill. And skills grow stronger only through use. If you never train the mind to stay in one place, it will forever be restless, forever reaching, but never holding anything firmly. So the first act of power is to choose where your attention goes and to keep it there, not for a moment, but for long enough that the mind learns stillness. From stillness comes clarity. From clarity comes intention. And from intention, action that carries weight. When your attention stops leaking into things that do not matter, what remains is energy that can build, grow, create, and transform. In this way, the focused mind becomes your most valuable ally and the key to accessing deeper levels of strength, peace, and mastery. Most people misunderstand discipline. They see it as something restrictive, a set of rigid rules imposed from the outside. But true discipline does not come from pressure, it comes from clarity. It is the conscious decision to act in alignment with what you value most, even when distractions offer an easier path. In that sense, discipline is not about suppression. It is about liberation. It frees you from the chaos of an untamed mind, from impulses that pull you in every direction. Without discipline, you are not choosing your actions. Your habits and cravings are choosing for you. A person without discipline might feel free in the moment, but they are often trapped in cycles they cannot escape. They wake up late not because they want to, but because they cannot resist comfort. They avoid effort not because they are at peace, but because fear whispers in their ear. They scroll endlessly, consume passively, and react emotionally. This is not freedom. It is dependency dressed as ease. Discipline, on the other hand, is the conscious refusal to let those forces control you. It is the silent, steady reminder that your time, energy, and life belong to you, not to fleeting urges or external noise. When you live with discipline, your mind becomes organized. There is structure in your day, and that structure gives space for clarity. You no longer carry the burden of constant indecision or regret because you've already decided how you will show up. The body learns routine and the mind learns rhythm. As you consistently train yourself to stay the course, even when it is uncomfortable, you begin to trust yourself. And trust in oneself is one of the rarest forms of confidence. It is not loud, but unshakable. In this state, discipline becomes less about effort and more about identity. You no longer have to push yourself to act. You simply act because that is who you've become. The inner conflict begins to fade. You do not argue with your mind each morning about whether to practice, whether to show up, whether to keep going. You already know. This frees immense energy that was once lost in hesitation and doubt. With discipline, your internal landscape becomes calmer, not because challenges disappear, but because your response to them is no longer uncertain. People often search for freedom outside themselves, in travel, in escape, in avoidance. But freedom is not the absence of responsibility. True freedom is the ability to choose the direction of your life and follow it with consistency, regardless of how you feel in the moment. And that freedom is born from discipline. It is through repeated, conscious choices that you carve a path stable enough to walk without fear. When discipline is rooted in purpose, it no longer feels like a burden. It becomes the foundation of peace, power, and progress. Focus is often misunderstood as something you must force, like straining your mind to stay still, to work harder, to resist distraction. But the nature of the mind does not respond well to force. Like a wild horse, it resists being controlled by sheer pressure. If you pull too hard, it pulls back. True focus is not achieved through tension. It is achieved through alignment. When what you are doing aligns with what you believe, what you value, and what you truly want, the mind naturally becomes still and attention flows without resistance. This is why people can spend hours on something they love and not notice the time passing. It's not because they are forcing themselves to concentrate. It's because they are fully connected to the activity. There is harmony between their purpose and their attention. This is alignment, and when the mind is aligned, it no longer needs to be dragged back to the task. It returns willingly. The more aligned your inner world becomes, your goals, your values, your actions, the more effortlessly your focus sharpens. To cultivate this alignment, you must first become honest with yourself. You must ask, why am I doing this? If your answer is unclear, if your intention is borrowed from someone else, or if your goal is only rooted in ego, your focus will be fragile. It may appear strong on the surface, but it will waver at the first sign of resistance. True focus only becomes sustainable when it is anchored in something deeper than ambition, when it grows from clarity, not from pressure. Without clarity, your energy will always scatter, no matter how hard you try to stay centered. The person who knows their why does not need constant motivation. Their clarity generates its own momentum. Even when discomfort arises, they do not drift because their focus is not held by willpower alone. It is held by alignment with something meaningful. This is the quiet power of those who move with purpose. Their focus is not forced. It is chosen. And because it is chosen from within, it becomes resilient, steady, and alive. In this way, alignment is not a luxury. It is a necessity for any mind that seeks to remain focused and undisturbed. Alignment also brings peace. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are in agreement, you are no longer in internal conflict. You are not spending energy pretending, performing, or trying to convince yourself to care. Your mind is not divided. This unity within makes it easier to resist external distractions because you are no longer pulled in multiple directions from within. When you are in alignment, focus becomes your natural state. It no longer feels like effort. It feels like coming home to what matters. Peace is often spoken of as if it is something to be discovered. A place, a person, a lifestyle that will one day bring silence to the noise within. People travel far, chase comfort, and rearrange their outer world in hopes of finding that elusive sense of calm. But true peace does not come from changing your surroundings. It comes from changing your relationship with your own mind. You can sit beside a quiet river and still be restless inside. Or you can stand in the middle of chaos and remain unmoved because you have trained your mind to be still. Peace is not the absence of noise, it is the presence of inner stability. The mistake many make is believing that if they just remove enough external problems, peace will naturally appear. But problems never stop. Life never waits for the perfect moment to be kind to you. There will always be uncertainty, demands, and noise. And so long as your peace depends on those things being absent, it will always be fragile. It is only when you turn inward, when you begin to work on the quality of your thoughts, your reactions, and your awareness, that you begin to build peace that does not depend on the world behaving a certain way. This is where the power of focus becomes essential. When your attention is pulled constantly by the outer world, your inner state becomes a reflection of everything around you. Someone else's anger becomes your stress. A small delay becomes your frustration. A passing failure becomes your self-doubt. But when your mind is trained to stay centered, you begin to observe the world instead of absorbing it. You respond instead of react. The storm may be loud, but it does not enter you. You remain grounded because you have made peace your starting point, not your reward. The practice of inner peace is a discipline. It is not found in a moment of comfort. It is built through the way you carry yourself in discomfort. When you sit in silence and face your restless thoughts instead of escaping them, you are building peace. When you choose patience over impulsiveness, reflection over reaction, simplicity over excess, you are training the mind to stop chasing noise. Slowly, you begin to realize that the quieter you become inside, the more clearly you can see what matters. Peace is not passive. It is the result of active inner work. There is great strength in this kind of peace. It is not soft or weak. It is steady like a mountain that does not move for the wind. The world may push and pull, but your center holds. This kind of peace cannot be sold, cannot be given, and cannot be taken away. It is yours alone, earned, practiced, protected. And when it is present, your mind becomes a place of refuge, not a battlefield. From that refuge, your focus becomes sharper, your decisions more intentional, and your life more aligned with what is real and lasting. Every skill, every discipline, every path to excellence begins with one common ingredient: attention. Without attention, there is no learning. Without sustained attention, there is no refinement. And without intentional attention, even great effort becomes scattered and ineffective. Mastery in any area, whether it is movement, thought, speech, or stillness, requires that the mind be fully present, anchored in the moment, aware of itself. That is the number R. The more fully you can direct your attention, the deeper your understanding becomes. This is the quiet foundation beneath every great practitioner. Not talent, not speed, but the ability to stay. In the beginning, the mind resists this staying. It wants to move quickly, to jump ahead, to be stimulated. But mastery requires slowness before speed, simplicity before complexity. It demands that you notice what others overlook, that you repeat when others become bored, that you observe what is beneath the surface. And this can only happen when your attention is steady, not darting between past and future, not diluted by comparison or doubt. A wandering mind may chase many things, but it learns nothing deeply. A focused mind, even on a single task, grows in power and clarity. The truth is, most people don't lack potential, they lack attention. They cannot stay with a task long enough for mastery to unfold. They seek shortcuts, but mastery offers none. The path is simple, but not easy. You return again and again to the same position, the same process, the same principle, until the mind becomes quiet enough to see what was hidden before. The moment your attention rests fully on what you are doing, something shifts. You are no longer simply repeating. You are refining. You are no longer performing. You are perceiving. And this ability to hold your attention is not limited to skills or practices. It applies to everything: relationships, purpose, growth. To truly understand someone, you must give them full attention. To make wise decisions, you must first observe your own thoughts without rushing. To evolve, you must become aware of your patterns, your habits, your automatic reactions, and awareness is only possible when attention is present. Mastery, then, is not just about doing something well. It is about being fully with what you are doing until it transforms you. The highest form of mastery is not external. It is mastery over your own mind. And this does not begin with force, but with awareness. Can you notice when your mind is drifting? Can you bring it back without judgment? Can you stay when boredom arises? Can you refine even when no one is watching? These are the quiet gates to mastery. Attention is the key that unlocks them. And the more consistently you hold it, the deeper the path reveals itself, not all at once, but moment by moment, breath by breath.